Today, I'm sitting down with a true heavyweight in retail development. Jeff Gaul is the Chief Development Officer at CAVA, the brand that is currently redefining fast casual dining. Before leading CAVA's massive expansion, Jeff ran global store development for titans like Nike and Sephora. We're going to talk about what it takes to scale a category-defining brand at speed. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Brett. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. You're scaling at an incredible velocity at CAVA. So how do you balance the pressure to open doors quickly with the discipline of ROI governance to ensure you aren't just growing for growth's sake?
It's a great question and something that we take really seriously here at CAVA. Our biggest growth governor is actually people. We can always find great real estate. We can always find, great people to build our new locations. But what we always never want to compromise on is having incredible people that work in our restaurants. So that means team members, general managers, area leaders, regional directors. So we spend a lot of time making sure that we have those people in place before we enter new markets. And so with that, we typically only go into 2 or 3 new markets a year, so that we can really kind of create that balance of expansion, but not just for expansion's sake. So super proud that we have been growing at just under about a 20% clip, and we'll continue to do that for the foreseeable future.
You've led development for product-heavy giants like Nike and Sephora. And how did your philosophy on site selection and design change when you moved from selling sneakers and lipstick to selling fresh food?
It's pretty funny because, when they first called me for this job, I was like, I've never worked in a restaurant. I never even worked in a restaurant when I was in, high school or college. So, eaten at many of them, but site selection I thought would be very radically different. But, candidly, it's pretty much the same. We have the same, we call our customers guest. Our guest is no different than the person who's buying Air Jordans or buying the Apple iPhone or buying, Drunk Elephant at Sephora. We want to be able to be in those same shopping centers, those same trade areas. So, for us, it's not a big difference radically. What I did have to learn is, things about venting and grills and grill hoods and things like that. But it wasn't rocket science. And I'm surrounded by an incredible team of people that took me under their wing and taught me a lot of that stuff. So I've gone from, being concerned about how we manage 8,000 people showing up for the newest Air Jordan drop to 500 people showing up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get their falafel on. So it's been super fun.
You oversee everything from design to lease negotiation. So where do you usually find the tension between the design team wanting like a cool space and the finance goals? So how do you decide when to spend and when to value engineer?
We're really lucky here. Before I joined, half of the team reported to our CFO, half the team reported to our CEO. So I brought everyone under one umbrella, and it's been really seamless. So our team really understands the value of growing the brand and always keeping that brand essence and that concept essence and our brand DNA. Everything we try to do is to create a true Mediterranean hospitality when we welcome a guest into our door, and everyone is welcome at our table. So, typically, where we fight sometimes and say we need a little bit more money to bring that, location to a, major metro like LA, Chicago, or New York. But at the end of the day, we typically find compromises where we can, cut corners at a spot that doesn't impact the guest experience, but we can still deliver that beautiful new design. We're really proud that we've introduced a new concept design in the last, really about 90 days, where we've rolled it out in fullness. It's called Project Soul, and it really brings that Mediterranean hospitality to life. It's that physical manifestation of what CAVA really is. Prior to this, it felt a little cold, a little industrial. So now the restaurants are filled with, plants, soft seating, vibrant colors of the Mediterranean. And so it allows our guests to not only enjoy one day part, which was typically lunch, but to really enjoy 2 day parts, hang out with their family at dinner and their friends, and really kind of, enjoy a meal no matter what they're trying to accomplish.
With the real quick on the, it's called Sola. What's the new concept called again?
Oh, Project Soul. So
Project Soul.
Like yeah.
So how many of those have you opened, and has that been around for a while? Or is that?
It's been, we've been doing it for probably the last year in a variety of different stages. So we were kind of building the plane as we were flying it. So we would test a new color tile or a new type of floor or a new exterior. So over the last quarter, pretty much all the restaurants we've opened. So probably about, less than 15 of them have been 100% with the new design concept that's been fully vetted and approved. So if you're in the Miami area, you can check out Brickell or Aventura, which both have that. Or if you're in the Chicagoland area, we've opened up in Streeterville or in Wicker Park. And those, again, have most of our Project Soul concepts there with it.
Is the Project Soul part of the? Did you all have like a connected kitchen, or you're doing something with AI a little bit?
So we're always looking at innovation, and our SVP of design and construction, Melissa Ang, is really our chief innovation officer. So she's always thinking about how we bring innovation to the guest and how we make it easier for our team members to serve our guests. So we're looking at a lot of different things. We've had cameras implanted in the ceiling that actually look at our food and tell the grill when to fire up another round of chicken or put more falafel on and things like that. So it's pretty cool. We also are entered into a partnership with Hyphen along with Chipotle so that they can actually create our bowls for our digital orders. So think about it as an automated kind of a system. We'll always want to make sure that we engage with our guests fully and completely if they walk into our restaurant. So we never want to be in a situation where you're ordering off a kiosk, you're not engaging with one of our team members. Mediterranean food is still really new to a lot of people. So we want to make sure that when Brett walks in, if you've never had tzatziki, we explain what that is, or what harissa is, or what chicken shawarma's flavor profile and how that's different than maybe something else that's on the menu. So we always want to be able to have that opportunity. But if you're ordering digitally, we want to make sure that your order is 100% accurate and done on time and delivered on time. So we'll leverage innovation for that sake.
So I think you've mentioned that roughly 1/3 of your new units by 2032 will likely have drive-through pickup lanes. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's not a absolute must-have. It's not like a situation where no matter what we have to have a drive-through or pickup lane. We're not a drive-through like a McDonald's where you're ordering like, hey, add more pickled onions to that bowl. You're actually just doing it to ease your convenience. You're still ordering on the app. The order is prepared for you. A beacon knows when you've entered our parking lot. So we know, hey, Brett's here. His car is pulling around. So as you pull up to the window, we're handing you the bag. It just makes it a little bit easier for some of our guests who maybe don't want to park in one of the designated pickup lanes and walk in or run into our location. But if we can't get a pickup lane for limitations that the city or the location may provide, then we always give those parking spaces where we can just run in and grab it. But sometimes you've got kids in the back. You're on the way to soccer practice, or you're on the way home when your kid's asleep, and it's just easier to have someone hand you a bag and run and go. So we always want to meet our guests wherever they want to be, and we want to provide that ease and convenience and that extra level of technology. We're also doing something called connected kitchen or kitchen display systems in all of our locations now. So it makes it really easy. If you order on the app, our guest will get a text message telling them, your order is done early or it's right on time so that you know exactly where it is. And it also helps with that order accuracy as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So an end cap or drive-through is the preference, or it's just a nice
in-cap is always our preference. So in-cap is kind of our sacred cow. We always want to have that amazing visibility with that patio. If we can get a pickup lane or pickup window, it's preferred, but it's not a must have. We will definitely look at all the other aspects that are going on in the shopping center. Some of our our fellow folks like Cane's and Chick-fil-A are so wildly popular in their pickup lanes that some municipalities have said no mas. We don't want any more drive-throughs, and so we always kind of have to fight that. So we're never going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And if it's a great site on an end cap and we can get everything else we want, we're not going to turn the deal down because the city is going to say no more drive-throughs in this municipality.
Yeah, yeah. You were talking about how Mediterranean is not a well-known category of food to some people. So do you feel like in those kind of markets, maybe the Midwest or something like that, that your real estate has to be A++ to make the brand awareness carry over?
It does help. I mean, it's interesting because you either know and love Mediterranean. It's constantly voted the healthiest diet. If you ever watched the documentary Blue Zone, it's where people live past 100 years old and they eat Mediterranean cuisine every day of their life. So you either fall in that camp where it's healthy, it helps heart health and cholesterol and all the other things that people should be looking out for, or it's a new category. But we're always kind of surprised. We opened in Detroit, Michigan, and all throughout Chicago, and are expanding in Ohio. And those customers and guests are lining up, literally so excited to dine with us. So I think it's catching a lot more notice from people, and it helps that we're now in so many more states across the U.S. and we'll continue to do that. But there's still nuances to the cuisine that we want to inform and engage our guests with and teach them about how great our food is. And we always say it's where the intersection of health and taste collide. So it doesn't have to be just healthy for healthy's sake. It's also super flavorful, and you can make it as healthy as you want to make it.